Hey, it's me, Kayla. I am talking to you now in June of 2026, and that's my dog walking by. You heard the countdown to start the video and it woke him up, and he's like, "Oh, what is mom doing?" So I went through infertility and IVF, and we did find success. It took us 5.5 years altogether. A year and a half of that was going through IVF. And at the very beginning, some advice that I would give to you if you are going to start IVF is go out and buy a journal. Go out and buy a journal. I got this from Target, and it doesn't need to be fancy. It just needs to be something that you can record everything in. And I knew that this could be a long journey for us. It had already been a long journey when we started IVF. So we had already been trying for 3 years at that point. So it was a long time. 4 years. Oh my God. It's hard to keep track now. That's why you need to write things down, right? Yeah. But yeah, I bought this right before we started IVF. I knew I wanted to buy a journal to write everything down in so that I could remember and look back on stuff, because the doctors won't let you record. They don't like it when you record them, or the nurses or anybody in general. Like if you're not the one deciding that you want to be recorded, people usually don't want to be recorded. And so I really wanted to get a journal to write everything down so I can look back on everything and make sure I had my P's and Q's, So this started January of 2023, so this book is 3 years old now. Over 3 years old, wow. And I'm over halfway through. I'm on this one. Yeah, I'm on this one now. And this has been so invaluable, so I could look back on my notes and look back on, what I talked about with my doctor during our consults and what the plan is. They do have an online portal, as most doctor offices do, but it's easier for me to write things down in my own words rather than to look back on clinical notes. And just recently, my IVF clinic started getting better about their clinical notes. Like now it would be easier for me to just look back on their notes, when before it was more difficult. So I guess it kind of depends on what's available to you, but I just always prefer to write things down myself. And I have tons of journals and things like that. I love writing lists. I love writing plans. Like, it's great. It just feels like very productive to me. And I love the act of writing. I feel like it's becoming a lost art. And like having something physical to hold on to really helps me. That like, oh, this is my IVF journal, and I have this thing that represents that with everything that I need written inside. So if you are starting IVF, or even starting just like fertility treatments, infertility journey, I would recommend to go out and get a journal, buy a journal, and just start writing what you're going through, what procedures you've had, your experience, like, how many days did you bleed if you had a certain procedure, or, how did you feel? Like, I know in this book, there's so many, like, things like that where I'm writing about infertility and writing about all the procedures and, all the letdowns, because, like, anybody who goes through, like, IVF knows there's a bunch of highs and a bunch of lows, and they could be day by day. You could have great results, you're thinking things are going to be great, and then just it brings you crashing down because there's another problem, there's another obstacle, there's another time delay, and, it it's so nice because also in here I have my pregnancy tests from my successful transfer, and I tested around Christmas. I tested on the 23rd because I was like, I don't want to test on the 25th because I don't want to bring my Christmas like down. I don't want it to be another reminder. Fun fact, we started trying to have a baby on my birthday. Like that's what I wanted. That's why I asked for my husband for my birthday. I think when I turned 28 or 27, I can't remember, one of those. And he was like, yeah, we could start trying. And it was so beautiful and wonderful. And I thought like, oh, this is going to be such a great memory of like starting to try around my birthday. But then every birthday that I had after that we still weren't pregnant, it was like difficult because it was just another reminder, another reunion. And it kind of brought my birthday down a little bit because I was like, oh yeah, we started trying on my birthday and we're still not pregnant. But that's why I didn't want to test right on Christmas Day. I was like, oh, maybe not right on that day. Let's do it a couple days before. And then it was freaking positive. And then it was positive. I couldn't believe it. And I remember testing and obsessing over the lines, and being like, I don't know if this is darker. Do you think this is darker? Talking to my husband. And he's like, I definitely think it's darker. And I'm like, I have line eyes. He's like, what are line eyes? And it's just like, I just couldn't tell. I'm like, is this darker? Now looking back on it, it does look like there's some progression happening for sure. And I was so happy to put this in the journal because it just felt like all these other previous setbacks, all these other things that I had gone through, it was all leading up to our beautiful, beautiful baby. And now he's here and it's amazing. So if you're starting to get testing, going through infertility, or starting IVF, just know that things can be really difficult for sure and strenuous and just bring you so down, so far down. But keep in mind what the goal is. You're very strong and things can work out. Things can happen. Things can be good for you. All right? And I just want to leave you with that. Okay. I'll talk to you later.